Hi everyone, welcome to my August Patreon Q&A video. In this video, I'll be answering some of the questions posed by you, my Patreon subscribers. So diving right into it, my first question for this month is, hi Lauren, I was wondering if you think it's possible for someone with a college degree and living with schizophrenia to get a job in 2019? There's kind of layers to that question. I'm not sure how easy it is for anyone really to get a job with a college degree in 2019, but I don't think that having schizophrenia is something that necessarily has to interfere with getting a job. It's completely up to you whether or not you self-disclose to your employer or your prospective employer about your diagnosis. And so that shouldn't really come into play when looking for a job or when applying or interviewing for a job. So the second question that I have is, they say, after 7 days in a psychiatric hospital, their son began Abilify and Ativan for sleeping, then returned home. His discharge paperwork had him note that his meds would not be in his possession. Because of miscommunication, he picked up his meds at the pharmacy and we haven't seen them since. How do we approach him to tell him that we will be giving him the meds without making him feel like we don't trust him, which we don't because of similar behavior in the past? So in my experience, I feel like honesty is just the best policy in terms of communicating with your loved one about issues such as this. I understand that you want to make sure that he doesn't feel like you don't trust him, but at the same time, if you don't really trust him, I think that's a conversation that it should be opened up with him. So talking to him about why exactly you have concerns around him administering his own medications and why you feel that you would be of help for him, and just having an open dialogue like that with him, I think will go a long way. A lack of insight into someone's diagnosis is just a part of having schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder or anything like that. And so I think that there needs to be some level of awareness in terms of approaching your son knowing this and knowing that it's not just his specific behavior specific to him, but it's a part of the illness in general. So understanding that and working with him to kind of work around that would be key. I'm a big advocate of encouraging self-autonomy within living with an illness such as schizophrenia. And so encouraging them to be responsible for themselves while kind of helping them with doing that. So what's been helpful for me in the past around times where I didn't want to take medication, or I just kind of didn't feel the need, or basically just didn't want to take medication. So what was helpful for me when I didn't want to take medication or just didn't understand the importance of taking medication or anything like that, was having someone in my life encourage me to kind of remember my own pattern of stopping medication leading to hospitalization or sometimes worse, and just kind of having that level of self-reflection around why the medication was important to me or why it was important that I was taking it, and having that conversation with someone that I trusted really helped. So again, just being open to having these conversations with your loved one around why it's important to take medication and why you think that you would be helpful in terms of helping him to administer his own medication. So the next question is, what resources/institutions do you use to keep on top of the latest research into mental illness, especially with schizophrenia? So that's a great question. Most of my videos have fallen on my knowledge that I received in school around the illness, and about research that I've done, gathering information from textbooks and from organizations such as Canadian Mental Health Association or the National Alliance on Mental Illness in the States, or reputable organizations like that put out public information about the illness. We also try to stay on top of any news that comes out around schizophrenia, but it's kind of important to keep this in mind with like a grain of salt, because new breakthroughs are not always the most sound information coming out. It's important to kind of know what's going on in terms of research around schizophrenia and mental illness, but it's best to kind of wait for reputable organizations to back the information, such as the National Alliance on Mental Illness or the Canadian Mental Health Association, or organizations like that, the American Psychiatric Association. So looking for publications from those organizations are mainly what we do to stay on top of current research to do with schizophrenia. Okay, so the next question is, What are your thoughts regarding special education programs and those with schizoaffective disorder? In my youth, I was placed in one while I only experienced the mood disorder component of my illness as the schizophrenic component hadn't manifested yet. I always felt isolated, and because of the inequality of resources and difference in qualifications of those teachers, like I was being segregated as a dumb kid, even though I aced pretty advanced college coursework while in high school. I personally find it inappropriate for some mental illnesses while useful for others. Your thoughts? So my initial thoughts around this would be to not necessarily have these kind of segregated classes or segregated components to school for like blanketed for people with mental illness. That's definitely not the way to go. I think it's going to be a matter of what each individual needs. If they require more attention or specialized educational experiences because of their mental illness or because of some other reason, then it might be appropriate, but it shouldn't be a blanket response to everyone living with mental illness or living with schizoaffective or schizophrenia. Thank you so much to the Patreon subscribers who submitted questions this month. They were great as always, and I look forward to hearing what you have for me next month. I want to end this video a little bit differently this time and kind of open up a question to you as well to answer in the comments below or in the community section of Patreon. And it's just something that I've been thinking about a little bit more recently. And it's a question around how has your definition of success changed or kind of grown or adapted in the face of having an illness such as schizophrenia? So if you want to share your thoughts in the comments below or in the community section of Patreon, please feel free. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. And thanks so much again for watching, and have a great day. Bye.